Living Pain here. Hope all is well. I think it's day 332 on this 50-pound weight loss journey. First of all, I'll start with the good news. Actually, it was a decent day today all around. But this was the highlight in the morning. I woke up 202.8. Yes. I think 2 days ago I was 206. Starting to get back to where I was before. And what was I going to say about that? It's 202. Minus 34.2 pounds. Now, I want to throw a shout out, congratulations, all that stuff to my buddy Joe, who is on the comments often on the vlog, which I really appreciate. And he does it to try to help me with YouTube to get the algorithms going so I can get more followers. Which, hey, what kind of guy is that? That sounds like an awesome guy. Anyway, he broke 200. He's 199.8. Now, here's the thing about Joe. If that's not, Joe's at close, if not, breaking 200 got him to 100-pound weight loss. And if he's not at 100, he is within like a 1-foot putt. He's really close, if not 100. I think he's at 100. I could be wrong. But either way, that's substantial. I look at it and it's a pittance. My 35-pound loss is a pittance compared to what Joe has done. So my hat goes off to him. You'll see on the vlog, it's a little bit shorter now, getting more into the commentary, which I've come to find out people are more interested in than necessarily seeing me do the exact same thing day after day after day. And I'm cool with that. It reduces the amount of editing time that I have to do. So that's a good thing. The big thing today is I signed up with Mark Allen for my coaching. The program is 20 weeks long. It'll start March 15th. I just got the workouts today, and yeah, it looks, you know what? I've got to say, for me, I hate racing. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Although I love training. Love it, love it, love it. For me, if I could train without racing, it's totally fine by me. I find that the most enjoyable thing. So I was going through the training weeks, from the 15th. It's a 20-week training program, and just seeing, and I've done it before, and it's changed up a bit, but just looking at what I have to do and what the weekends are and all that, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to start off a little slow, which is good, and I'm glad it doesn't start until the 15th, so that gives me more time to just let my legs heal and my calves heal, even though they're not too bad. I'm rolling them with my roller every night before I go to bed and when I wake up, just to make sure they're limber and not knotting up or anything like that. So, and the other thing was, this is awesome. I was going to eat apple pie and ice cream after dinner tonight, and which I did yesterday, and I was doing in the past, and I was losing weight. And so what I did a little trick, and I've done it before, and I know other people do it, is I entered into my FitnessPal, which is what I use for counting calories. I actually put in like I had eaten the ice cream and I'd eaten the cake, and then the calories came up, and it was like, for the day I was at 1900, and I hadn't eaten the ice cream, and I hadn't eaten the pie. And so what was awesome was I went right into working out tonight. I didn't eat that, and then I was able to delete it. So it went from 1900 calories down to just under 1500 calories because I didn't eat it. And there's the one good thing about actually putting the calories in or the food in before you eat it is it gives you that one last opportunity to look at it and go, okay, I can, you know what, I haven't committed to all this. Yet the reverse is when you eat all that and you're entering it in and you go, oh man, those calories are way more. Why did I do that? And you wish you could go back in time. The way I did it is basically quasi time travel. I actually did go back in time and I removed that pie and ice cream that I was going to eat. So I was pretty happy about that. I did end up making myself some snack food, which is sugar-free Jell-O. And I think it's like 10 calories a serving. It's really nothing. And today I ate my last bag of Orville Redenbacher Smart popcorn that was in the house. And I said to Alice, whatever you do, don't buy any more Smart Pop for right now, which is just another reason for me to munch on something. And then I observed myself from above eating popcorn today, and it was just like just going at it, like not even enjoying it. Just it's like you know, it was just kind of busy sort of food, you know. You take your mindless eating. That's the word, mindless eating. So yesterday I mentioned that I was going to tell the story of how I got into triathlons, or how I did an Ironman. And someone asked me that story way back when, and like, how'd you get into triathlons, or into Ironman triathlons? And it was one of those questions that no one had asked, and then I had to really think back, and then it came to me, and ever since then I just think it's so funny. So picture this: I'm 17 years old. I went out partying the night before, got super drunk, came home, or before I went to bed or got home, I picked up chili and chips from, what was the place called? Fat Boy. And it's just French fries covered in chili. It's a favorite in Winnipeg. It's awesome. So I guess I got home that night. I was, eating chili and chips. I was drunk. I fell asleep on the couch in the basement of my parents' house. And the next morning, Alice, who's my wife now, was my girlfriend then in high school, came over, and it was probably around 1 o'clock. I was still passed out on the couch sleeping, and behind my head was this chili and chips on the end table. And so I lit up a smoke. I smoked back then. I was having a smoke, and all of a sudden the TV came on, or we were watching TV, flipping through. I think back then we probably only had 3 channels. There wasn't cable back then, but on ABC Wide World of Sports, they started showing this Ironman triathlon from Hawaii. And at that point, the Ironman was only 5 years old. So when I was 17 years old and I was watching this thing on TV, it was 5 years old. It was really new. Wide World of Sports was covering it because it was just a mind-blowing thing that people could swim 2.4 miles. They could bike 112 miles. They could run 26.2 miles and do it all in a day. And there was a lot of like heartwarming stories, which if you've watched any of the Ironman coverage, even to this day, they go into, things like the Hoyts, who I think the son has like cerebral palsy or whatever, and the father puts him in a, little rubber raft, swims with him, has a special bikes with him, pushes them. Like, just, there's all these incredible stories that are intertwined with the Ironman. Anyway, I was watching it, and I'm lying on the couch, having a smoke, hungover as hell. Alice is sitting over there, and I'm watching this thing for the first time. And I look at her and I look at the TV and I go, I could do that. That it just hit me. It was like, you know what? It's hard to describe, but I just looked at it and went, yeah, that's me. I could do that. And so then fast forward 4 or 5, or what was it? Fast forward 20, about 4 or 5 years later, 4 years later, I did my first half Ironman, And actually, to back up, I was also, when I was smoking and all that stuff, I was overweight back then. I was up to, in high school, I was about 212 pounds. So football, all that sort of stuff. So technically, I could say at 202.8 pounds, I'm less weight than I was in high school. But anyway, so visualize this guy lying on a couch, hungover, chili and chips behind him, smoking a cigarette, watching the Ironman, hungover, heavy overweight, and then looking at the TV and going, I could do that. I could do that. And years later, when I did my first Ironman, which was in 1987, so it was 4 years after I watched this. Just in 4 years, I went from this fat, on the couch, smoking, out of shape guy to doing my first Ironman in 4 years later. And I remember telling the story to somebody, and then Alice kind of said, she goes, it was when I was there, when Alice was there, and I said this to her, it was just the two of us, and I said, I could do that. She in her head just went, yeah, right. She didn't say it to me, but in her head, she says, yeah, right. And then when I ended up doing it, and I think I told the story back then to somebody, and what she said to me was, she goes, you know what I've learned from that is never question if he says he can do something. Because basically she realized whatever he puts his mind to, even if he says it and it's crazy, he can deliver on it, or does deliver on it. So that was how I got into it. I just watched it, and it hit me in the heart, in the chest area. That's, you know what, that's me. I could do that. It was just like I saw it, and I saw those guys doing the 2.4 mile swim, the 112 mile bike, the marathon, and I said to myself, I could do that. I said to Alice, I could do that. And then she, again, in her mind, she's like, yeah, right. So that was my introduction to triathlons and Ironman triathlons, which to me, that's, I call myself a triathlete. I do triathlons, but for me, it's just Ironman or half Ironman. That's only place I want to dabble in. And actually half Ironmans for me are just, I've retired from the Ironman gig, or at least I say that now. Just for Simon Cross. He's a friend of mine, good friend in Malaysia, and he keeps telling me, or eluding, like, hey dude, come to Malaysia, let's do an Ironman, that sort of thing. It's just a lot of training. Tell you what, triathlons in general, Ironman or triathlons in general, it's a very selfish sport. Very selfish, because it's all about you training and eating right and all the rest of that sort of stuff. So it's it's a selfish sport if you got a family and all the rest of that stuff. It's not easy to train, and then it's not easy on them unless you have like a rock star partner, wife that I have that carries more than the load. Anyway, so I thought you might find that a little interesting or amusing. So that's it for me. Living Pain. Have a good one. We will see you tomorrow.